You're my hero.
Oh,
Incredible.
thank
Just so
you.
incredible. Your exclusive screening of 500
Thank
Days in
you.
the Wild. At the end, you received a standing ovation for your extraordinary feat of crossing across
Mm.
24,000 kilometers in Trans Canada Trail. Like, you are my hero. It's incredible. Congratulations.
Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. Like I said last night, the film really, the how beautiful that film is really the result of a lot of creative people I worked with. But it lands well on all of us that the film is having such a kind landing.
Last night, afterwards, we had such incredible feedback. We had people in tears, we had
Mm.
people cheering. They were like alongside of you the entire way. And most importantly, I think this will speak to your heart, is that we had people say, and this is pretty funny, of one community member, he's a fashionista, and he came out and said to his partner, "We're going camping." Like, we're gonna get connected. I'm like,
That's great.
right on,
Hey,
shine on, as
uh,
Deanne would say.
shine on. Exactly.
Right on.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
And when I was preparing to meet with you, I have 7 pages of these powerful quotes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a type A. Your words are poetry.
Hmm.
And when I thought first they were words of wisdom, I realized I needed to go deeper on that, and that they're heartfelt expressions.
Hmm.
And what I heard again from the feedback from last night with your exclusive screening was your words. Your words really touched so many people.
Thank you. Extracted a lot of that from like audio diary. I didn't actually film myself saying it, but I did audio diaries, and we really built the narrative arc from really like authentic moments, right? Like a lot of those reflections happened out on the trail, and then we just kind of bridged things. But yeah, I'm happy it's landing that way, and I don't always hear that. So thank you for sharing that.
Good.
That's heartfelt.
You're so welcome. I thought it was very important to share that with you. And when you open, it's such a powerful opening, and you talk about the world being lost and you're feeling lost. And throughout your journey, there are many losses, there's big losses as you're trekking across 24,000 kilometers. How did your loss turn into gains?
Well, that's a really great question. I guess like there's that famous quote, right, that says the light comes in through the cracks,
Yes.
some version of that anyway. Leaving in a state of not having a lot of hope for the future and feeling anger and disconnection, and I think I tapped into something that maybe a lot of people are feeling right now, it can feel kind of dark when you're watching the news. Like, we've been through a lot. I was in the bush going through COVID, but when interestingly enough, before I left, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, you're going out into the bush and you spend all this time alone. And then when COVID happened, everybody was like, the only safe place to go was where I was.
Right.
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 And I hit Banff that summer, and I remember bumping into this park ranger, and she's like, we're being loved to death right now. Like, everybody, it's the only place people can come. So it was kind of an interesting thing that way that kind of happened while I was out there. But absolutely, being broken and getting out on the trail, and then every act of kindness was like another piece of the armor just fell off, and eventually, yeah, it just really opened my heart. And human kindness is a medicine, and it's like we're all healers. We really are, because that's some way that, just being kind, giving someone a smile, really, a stranger a smile as you're walking down the street is like medicine, you know?
Absolutely.
So I got a lot of medicine on this journey, from the indigenous communities I listened and learned in, from the kindness of people that I met out there, and also from nature, just spending that time out there and connecting again to that web of life that we can sort of be disconnected from when we're downtown in an urban environment, and there's a lot of things going on,
Chaos.
um, but nature is going home,
Yeah.
as much as that might seem distant to a lot of people, it is going home, and reconnecting to something that precedes all of this, and so yeah, it was just over the years, a lot of healing that happened as a result of all of these things,
Mm.
and a shift, right? Like I didn't finish. You saw me, I had anger, and I'm throwing things in a fire when I leave,
Mhm.
and I'm bawling my eyes out as I land. So, it definitely that's the healing journey.
You had a very special gift given to you, a very spiritual
Mm,
special gift of a feather. Your steady companion
that's right.
that also became a teacher. So I'd love to
Absolutely.
hear what lessons you learned, but I also truly believe, looking outside in, that set the course of your entire
It
journey.
did.
To receive from it, that set the tone.
I think too, as long as I held the reverence for it
Yes.
here in my heart, right? Because what we carry here shapes everything.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the scene in the film near the beginning is like, just for those who haven't seen the film, 3 months before I depart on this journey, I'm in Haida Gwaii for a film festival, and I ask an Indigenous knowledge keeper, Vern Williams, how I can honor the ancestors of this land as I cross it. And he didn't know me. I was a stranger to him. And he gifted me the most important thing that he owned, and which was his eagle feather that had just really beautiful beadwork on it. And it was a feather that he used in ceremony. And he asked me to carry this very fragile eagle feather on this very rugged journey as a way of respecting the ancestors of this land. And he also taught me to smudge as a way of keeping grounded on my journey. So I carried that feather, and when I received it, I did not know like it was going to be shaping my journey. But I
Mhm.
did know that I had this immense amount of reverence for this gift because it came from human kindness
Yes.
and to a stranger, and given again the indigenous settler history on this land, even more so. Just wow, an act of grace and kindness and really forgiveness in some
Yeah.
ways.
So beautiful.
Um, but by carrying that feather and holding it in this and protecting it, it was a teacher for me. When this feather started looking rough, I knew that meant I wasn't being mindful enough and careful enough. Not maybe just with the feather, but in self-care.
Mhm.
On a journey like this, self-care is the most important thing. You will not make a long journey like this if self-care is not there. Kind of a
Mhm.
metaphor for all of us in our whole life, actually.
True.
First and foremost, Heather was a teacher, right? And almost a mirror of something going on within inside of me as well. But by carrying that feather and holding it with that kind of respect, we send out that intention into the world, and that opened up a lot of opportunities for me in invitations into other Indigenous communities across Canada, where I was also always met with an incredible amount of grace and kindness, and where I learned a lot by I went into those communities to listen and learn, and really brought in the teachings to help me on my journey. And I would say that those teachings helped me more than the technology I carried with me, even though that was a vital part of the journey, carrying a
Sure.
GPS and carrying a satellite phone for emergencies. All that's very important, but I think my safety had more to do with the lessons I was learning, and I was listening and bringing those into myself. And those are the lessons that changed me. They
Right.
changed my view of the world. I've always had a strong connection to nature, but very much on it, not with it.
Right.
And even as I received that wisdom, Mi'kmaq community, what my first, I spent time in 4 Mi'kmaq communities while I started in the East. And, I learned that the old way isn't, I thought the old way was that I wasn't going to use a motor.
Mhm.
And then I learned, no, that's not our old way. Our old way is what you carry in your heart as you travel, and just saying the earth is sacred, the earth is sacred, the water is sacred, the water is sacred. And I didn't need my logical mind to unpack this. It was enough. And they just said, if you do this, you will be safe. Well, I did that. Of
You
course,
did.
especially, and I'm not saying I did it every minute of every day, but what I am saying is that when I was in the woods and I was afraid, that's where I went. That was my mantra. It was like, okay, I need to turn this fear of into connection with. And
Right.
that helped me. And you don't even have to do, even if you just walked in a city park, Jen, and you say, as you're walking, like, and as you're passing the trees, just for 10 minutes, the earth is sacred. The earth is sacred. You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It's in us all.
Absolutely.
There's no magic to this. It's real. It's energy. It's the way we connect to things. The greens are going to get greener. You're going to start immediately feeling that connection to
I,
this
I'm
way of
excited
life,
to try
even in a
that.
city, squirrels, butterflies, there, it's all here. The raccoons, like you look, think of these other animals that have actually adapted to living with us in these urban environments. We might get mad at that raccoon, but how brilliant are those little creatures? I
So
love the
smart.
banditos, but anyway, I'll just say it's accessible. It really is, sitting with a tree and just like, thank you for your oxygen. Thank you for your medicine. Thank you for your wisdom. You're not just lumber, this isn't free. We have
Right.
we do come with the responsibility of looking after this place and these things, right?
I
So
love
all
that.
of that really, shifted me and changed me, right? And those things are still very much a part of me, as everything that we experience is. I mean, we all are a result of everything that we experience, right? So, and we are all changed by those things. But that's where I found my hope.
So beautiful. And I'm a tree hugger. So
Yeah, right on.
now I am. I'm a spirit girl.
Nice.
So I love the fact that now you've taught me another layer, another way of thinking, like raising that intention up. So I thank you for that. So now I will try that next time I'm on
Enigma taught
a field
you.
trip.
I'm just sharing what I was taught. But
Well,
yeah,
it's
thank
beautiful. It's
you.
passing it on. It's passing the light, which is
Yeah.
so beautiful. And yes, we have to have respect for this world. And you've gone through such a transformation. And so my last question for you is through this transformation, then you talk about the world being this economic world. And I thought about that. And I'm like, how difficult has it been to now you're like on the polar opposite end of things. You've got your filmmaker hat back on, right?
Yeah.
You're on your press junkets. It's a whole other world of entertainment, which you know very well, being award winning with all the work that you've done. But
Yeah.
has it been more challenging this time because you were insulated for so long in a very special bubble, shall we say? And now finding yourself
Yeah.
in front of a camera again?
Yeah, right. Well, a little bit, not so much now. I've been off the trail since August 2021, and we're in, I guess, March 2024 now. So it's just 2.5 years since I've returned from the trail. So initially, it was hard. Absolutely. In fact, everyone's laughing, but I slept in my tent for the first 4 months on my property when I got home. I did, like, before I went back into the house.
Well, I
It
mean,
was a
that makes sense
gradual
to me.
reintegration. And yeah, this reentry can be difficult. I wanted to get a t-shirt. Reentry can be difficult. But now I feel very much back in. And at this level, I'm working collaboratively with people, right? So it hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would be, but that has more to do with the people I've been working with and the support that I've had. And one of the things that stayed with me is this importance of connection. I was a real individualist when I left. I've always romanticized individualism. And like I said, the knowledge of the trees, some of the wisdom that we get from these trees is that, they look on the surface like they stand alone, but beneath the surface, all those roots are connected. And so too are we, right? And
Yes,
just that understanding has been pivotal in changing my experience. The world isn't as overwhelming when you have a connection to community. um,
yes,
that's something that is really very evident when you're in indigenous communities, is that they haven't lost society. As like everyone, there are, lots of things going on, but there's still a very strong sense of community. And seeing that and being witness to that really highlighted the lack of that in my life, and the importance of that when I came home. So yeah, whether it's the people you're working with or your friends at home, opening yourself up to that sense of connection with not just to the land but to the people you're around at any given time, and has really, yeah, just left me with a lot more optimism than I left with, that's for sure.
beautiful. And speaking of community and connection, where can people find you on social media so they can feel connected and stay connected with you on your journey?
Thank you. Yeah, well, we have an Instagram account at 500 Days in the Wild. a Facebook page for 500 Days in the Wild. Those are Instagram is really my dominant social, but also a website, 500 Days in the Wild, and that has a screenings page because we do have a theatrical across Canada going on right now. But of course, what's also very amazing is as of today,
Yes.
streaming on
Drum
Paramount
roll.
across, right? And what's
Yes.
amazing about streaming is that it can go to small communities in the high Arctic. It can go to remote communities in Newfoundland. You know, there's a lot of places on this land that don't have access to cinemas, don't have access to but with Paramount Plus now, this film is accessible all across this country. And this film takes place all across this country. So
So
I'm
beautiful.
thrilled that people, especially, the people, there were so many people in so many communities that have helped me. So for them to be able to now see the film, yeah, it's really meaningful.
So well said. Thank you so much, Deanne, for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations again. And to your point, 500 Days in the
Thank
Wild
you.
streaming today
Thank
on Paramount Plus. Thank
thank
you.
you.